What's up, guys? It's Tyler with Hook Sets Are Free. Hope you're having a good day, good night, whenever it is that you're with us. Hope you are well. So I'm going to give people a couple minutes to get in here. It is a random Tuesday night, July 7th, 2020. It's been about a week and a half since I've been on here. So I am out of beer and drinking water, trying to hydrate. We have some hot weather these days. Middle of summer. What's going on, guys? How are you doing tonight? Hope everybody had a nice 4th of July. And hope you're doing well this evening. Riley, what is up? Mess up on Insta. No worries. Doing pretty well this evening. Appreciate you asking. My wife is not working till the weekend, so she and I are doing our own things tonight. I thought I would just hop on here. I've got some tackle to show you guys, and wanted to hang out a little bit just since I didn't have the opportunity to get on this past weekend. My daughters ended up being a little bit scared of the fireworks. So unfortunately, Friday and Saturday night, I was more so on daddy duty than here hanging out with you guys. Otherwise, I would have loved to sit down and hang out for an hour or two, but both of the girls were struggling to sleep as the fireworks were booming. So William Plunkett in the house. What's up, dude? Yeah, I got water for the stream. Just fishing, Wyoming. What's up, man? Well, sorry to hear that that you're working right now, Justin. But thanks for tuning in. Good to have you here for at least a couple minutes, man. So, guys, I'll start with just something that's not quite as big of a deal, but something that I would assume you guys are aware of by now. But if you're not, Dick's Sporting Goods has decided to phase out a lot of fishing gear in many of their stores. So over the last year or two, on a rolling basis, a lot of their stores are just kind of clearing their fishing stuff out. So they're either moving it to other stores or they're selling it at discounted rates. So I have been checking over the last year or so and noticing that some of them have been dropping off. And this year, 1 or 2 new locations got rid of fishing gear for me. So I managed to find a couple of good deals recently, and didn't get too much. A couple packs of soft plastics. These are easy to find cheap, but this is the Berkley Havoc Smash Tube. I've got 4 packs of these already sitting right down here, but I didn't have this color, and this is a pretty cool deal. Ryan, what's up, man? How are you doing? So as you can see, this is super salty, but what's unique about these, aside from the fact that it's called the Smash Tube and has this smashed shape to it, this is a 4-inch tube made for flipping, but they've got these cool colors on the inside. The tentacles are like double dipped, so you get this black on the outside and light blue on the inside with that flake. So really cool tube there. As I said, I've got 3 or 4 packs in different colors, but at like $1.98 per pack, it was tough to beat that. So picked one of those up, and I've got these a little bit discounted. These were like $3.50. What just happened to the video? Looks all grainy on my end. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know if the light just messed it up or what, but this is the Turbo Cross from Z-Man. It's just a standard green pumpkin color. This bait is super versatile. Not sure if you guys throw this with this bait and all that you can do with it. I like to throw it on a chatterbait. I like to throw it on a wobblehead. I like to throw it on any type of jig, really. But you can fish this thing top water like a buzz bait, and you can fish it on a Nico rig or on a shaky head, honestly, there are a million different things you can do with this bait. It stands up straight. It has a lot of kicking action on a swim. And yeah, Turbo Craws from Z-Man, underrated bait. Ryan Dyke in the house. Sorry I didn't say, hey man, how are you doing? Wicked Storm just went through there. Haven't made it out for a few weeks, dude. That is tough to hear. I've been out, not on a daily basis, but I've been night fishing a lot recently. We'll talk a little bit about that here shortly. I've probably going night. I've been going night fishing a few times a week. So the other deal that I found was the Storm Arashi square bill. They make this in a 3-foot diver and a 5-foot diver, and they make it in a silent and a rattling. So I decided to get 2 of the 5-foot diving rattling versions, and these are ordinarily $10 square bills, and they're on sale right now for $5 a pop. There are a couple of other baits like that that are just, for whatever reason, like on clearance right now and worth picking up. So got 2 of these square bills, one in a shad pattern and one in a bluegill pattern. Both of these are actually really good looking colors. I'll just whip these out right quick to show you guys because I might as well. Matthew, Brian Waterman won the giveaway. I'm hoping he hops on here tonight and we can all let him know officially. I need to notify him and get those baits out to him. But here's that shad pattern. Nice translucent, but silver sides and bottom. You got that flash from the scales. And again, loud rattle, circuit board lip. Good details on that bait. Greenback, pearlescent blue sides, and that orange throat. Really like that. And again, rattling. Super loud rattling square bill compared to, say, the rattling Kbd 1.5s. So excited to have that. I do have 2 of those square bills already, one in the 3-foot and I think a silent 5-foot diver. So anyway, that's going to do it for the Dick's baits that I bought. But I got a cool package here from Outdoor Pro Shop or Monster Fishing Tackle. And again, I will leave you guys the link to Monster Fishing Tackle when we get off of here, so that you can check out some of these products. And if you want to buy them, awesome. If you use the link that I give to you guys, they are affiliate links, so I'll get a little bit of a kickback. You won't get an extra discount by using those links, but I will get a little bit of a commission. So let's get into some of these products because they're sweet. There's like 2 baits in here in particular that I am really, really excited about that I've never seen before, and am pumped to see and to try soon because I think they could potentially be game changers. And I hate to say that, game changers, but Justin, what's up, dude? Dick's Sporting Goods, man. I don't know that they're on sale store-wide or a company-wide, but definitely from store to store. I was saying at Dick's, a lot of their stores are stopping carrying fishing equipment. So for those stores, you can find a lot of stuff heavily discounted. So anyway, that's where I got those couple packs of soft plastics and those couple crankbaits on the cheap. So couldn't help myself. Anyway, here, Monster Fishing Tackle, aka Outdoor Pro Shop. Here we go. I'll show you the least exciting thing first. Some power bait. This was on closeout. I got this for less than $2. Ordinarily, a jar of this stuff costs, I don't know, $4 or $5, right? So my daughters like using power bait that reeks, and I can see white being relatively versatile, where I might be able to use it in multiple situations, depending on what I'm fishing for. But thought I'd pick it up in a white color, because we've got a couple things of this, one in pink, and we've got one that are like the nuggets or whatever. But thought I'd have that for fishing with my daughters. Sorry I'm not seeing your comments, guys, if I'm missing them. Riley, you're so generous. So, Matthew, appreciate you asking about the giveaway. Riley is super generous. You don't need to go giving Matthew any baits. He can just he can keep entering giveaways. But yeah, Riley, why don't you do a giveaway? Or why don't you send me some stuff and I'll do a giveaway? And part of the giveaway will be making people follow you, Riley, or do whatever it is that you want to do. So you tell me what you want to do, Riley. We could definitely get creative, figure something out. Daniel in the house. What's up, dude? Okay, guys. I don't know where to start here because it's all pretty exciting. I'll start with what I think you guys will think is least exciting. Right on. Let's do that, Riley. Let's get in contact after the giveaway or after the stream and talk about what we might be able to throw together in a giveaway for next month. That's not necessarily my standard giveaway. So this is the Savage Gear 3D bat. I've shown you guys this bait before. I have it in this size in the brown color. Yeah, I remembered your name. Super Mexican. This is the black color. So I've got it in brown. Now I've got it in black. I absolutely love this feathered treble on the back. But as we've talked about before, this is a crawler bird style lure. And this guy will literally, crawl through the water, chop, 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 chop. And if you retrieve this at a medium or medium fast speed, you can really hear it coming from a ways away. So pretty cool bait that I just picked up this summer and tried recently and caught like, I don't know, 4 or 5 fish on my first outing with this 4-inch size. I really like this size. This is the middle size that they make. It weighs 1 ounce. It's 4 inches long. I also have it in the bigger 5-inch that I haven't thrown just yet. And that's this guy right here. Quite a bit bigger, right? That weighs 2 ounces. So anyway, by the way, those 3D bats right now, like that 4-inch, I think retails for $20, and right now it's on sale for $3.99, $4 for these bat lures, and so I couldn't help it. I've got 2 of the 4-inch and 1 of the 5-inch now. So, yeah, Daniel, you guys should check some of these out. Again, I will leave the link to Outdoor Pro Shop, my affiliate link, where you guys can go check these out. Savage Gear has some of their baits on clearance right now for whatever reason, and I couldn't help but get some more of them. So I've got this bait in the 3-inch and the 4-inch already. Might have to whip them out to show you guys for comparison's sake. And I recently got the 4-inch. No, the 5-inch. And this guy here is the 6-inch. Believe it or not, this thing weighs 4 ounces. Look at the size of this bluegill. This is about as realistic looking as it gets. In size and look. This thing's gigantic. bass can eat that, no problem. Here's the 5-inch. And here is the 4-inch. I only have the 4-inch in this crappie pattern right now, but just so you have some size comparison, there they are. Four, 5, 6. So the 4-inch is like a, I don't know, this thing weighs somewhere between a 1/2 ounce and 3/4 of an ounce. It's a super light one. And then this 5-inch is pretty substantial. I want to say it's like, it's over an ounce. It's definitely, pushing 2 ounces. And then this 6-inch, I had no idea. 4 ounces. That is a hoss. Definitely needs to be thrown on dedicated swim bait gear, which luckily I do have a setup that will work for that. So again, if you guys don't remember what my swim bait setup is, it is a relatively affordable setup. One of the more affordable setups that you can get, and that is the Dobbins Fury 795 swim bait rod and the Daiwa Tatula 200 TWS reel. 4 ounces is probably pushing the boundaries of just how capable that rod is, because it's, I think, rated from 1 to 5 ounces, if I'm not mistaken. And the baits that I throw that are about 3 ounces on it feel like it's really the sweet spot, or starting to push the limits of what that rod really wants to throw. So yes, Daniel, the bluegill swim baits are good for the spawn, but they're actually good year-round too, because depending on where you fish, especially if you fish ponds or you fish shallow, grassy bodies of water, bass tend to key in on bluegill as their main source of forage. So yeah, bluegill swim baits tend to be good baits, not just during the spawn, but year-round as well. Riley says, placed an order on Bass Pro for 4 of the Z-Man Big TRDs in the hot craw for $10, but let me know if y'all want discounts for Bass Pro and Academy. I can hook y'all up with 20 to 25% discount. Woo, Riley! I might be interested at some point. So interesting, cool. Thanks for offering. Daniel, I hope I answered your question already when you asked what would I throw that swim bait on. I'd throw that on my 795 swim bait rod, and I'm throwing that on 65-pound braid to a 20-pound monofilament leader. Man, Daniel and Riley all over Matthew tonight. This is what I love about this community is, for the most part, everybody in here is rather generous, and a lot of folks are just getting started. So really cool the way that we're all willing to share knowledge and equipment and baits with each other. So love that stuff. Cool, guys. Let's get into it. Next on the list is another Savage Gear item, and this is the Whopper Plopper, the Smash Tail by Savage Gear. This is the big size. So this is a 170 size, which is almost 7 inches, 6 3/4 inches. This thing weighs 2 1/4 ounces. Monster plopper. Check this thing out. So this is the rainbow trout pattern. Forget what exactly they call it, but this is not the ghost trout, but just the normal trout pattern. And let me show you for for reference, here's the Whopper Plopper 130, which is a big bait, right? Well, here is the Savage Gear Smash Tail 170. So quite a bit bigger. And yeah, I want to say the Whopper Plopper 130 weighs like 1.5 ounces. And this thing is 2 1/4. So this is somewhere in between the 130 and the larger 190 size Whopper Plopper, which is a musky bait. This is a lot closer to that, but seeing that this imitates a trout so well, I figured this could be really good in some of the bodies of water that I fish that stock rainbow trout. So whether or not you know, rainbow trout, especially stalkers, tend to stay up shallow, and they also like to hang out close to the surface. So this is going to be a good search bait, not necessarily for catching fish, but for finding fish in some of the bodies of water that I like to go to. So really cool looking bait, super high quality, and again, this was heavily discounted. I want to say this retails for $20, and I got it for $8.99, something like that. So monster plopper style bait. I do have their smaller size the 135 in the perch color, and those same bodies of water that I fish that stock the rainbows have yellow perch in them. So I will throw both of these baits in those same bodies of water. And I almost wish that I had this bigger size in the perch pattern too. So I might look back on Monster Fishing Tackle Outdoor Pro Shop later. Look at the details, just how realistic these are. Super cool. So I don't even know if this is going to fit in my box, but I'll deal with that later. Hey, appreciate it, Riley. Yeah, we're at like 1,900 subscribers right now, guys. We should hit 2,000 in less than a month. So pretty cool deal. Just trying to strategize and figure out how to accelerate the growth a little bit. Figure out how we could maybe get to, 4K by the end of the year. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but this is a snowball effect that happens here on YouTube. So I just need to put out more actual videos instead of these live streams that we're doing right now, and I need to be putting out content that I know people are seeking out and that would be helpful, introductory bass fishing content especially. So let me know if you guys have any recommendations on videos that you'd like to see. I had Ron Hawley send me some messages by email, specifically asking for stuff on creature baits, wanting to know just when and where to throw creature baits and why one versus another, and comparing different brands and styles of creature baits. So that'll be something that we'll talk about sooner than later, just because he requested it. So let me know, Daniel. We all need fishing videos, that's for sure. But when you say we need fishing vids, what do you mean? What do you want to see, man? Because I go out there and I go fishing and I record a lot of it, but it's not nearly as entertaining, as a lot of these other channels where guys are going out on the boat all day long with a bunch of other dudes. I'm, beating the bank for 1, 2, maybe 3 hours at a time. And a lot of time I'm fishing at night, so I don't really have the footage that would make a great vlog style fishing video. So a lot of what I'm going to be doing here on YouTube is, educational fishing content, more recommendations on lures, when and where to use different things, how to rig baits, um, reviews on different products and things like that. So I'd love to know recommendations. Brian Waterman, you were the winner, bro. You were the winner. No problem. I didn't even reply to your comment, so we're on the same page there. But congratulations, dude. You are the winner. And I'm going to get those out to you ideally tomorrow. So if you wouldn't mind, send me an email tonight, dude, to hooksetsarethree18@gmail.com. Send me your shipping info, and I'll get those out to you ASAP, dude. But congrats again, Brian, and thanks for joining in on the stream, man. Good to see you in here. Riley, what Guggen baits are you talking about? Some of them are good, some of them are not so good, but which ones are you referring to? Well, come down to Texas or Louisiana. I have people who take you out at any time. No, it's not about getting out on a boat necessarily, Riley. I hope it didn't come off that way, guys. I'm not ungrateful. I'm not. I don't wish it were otherwise. It's just the reality of my situation. I've got 2 daughters at home. I don't have all day to go out fishing. Typically, just the way that I've done it since getting into fishing over the last couple of years, I go out when I've got time. I go out when it's low light situations, so I can fish top water. So early morning, late at night, or during my lunch break, just trying to catch a fish, which ends up being on a chatterbait, or sometimes on a more finesse technique on a Ned rig, or something else that I'm trying out. So anyway, that's just more where I'm coming from, and how my fishing tends to be. So hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from a little bit. But Daniel says, I'm trying to save up to buy a fishing tent. Want to go camping. Also want to use it when I go fishing overnight. That would be fun, sleeping at a lake. For sure, man. Absolutely. Not going to lie, but the Guggen soft plastics are The durability is not that good, but the action and scent is amazing. Yeah, I agree, Daniel. So I would not say that they're because of that. I would say that they're good. I would say that they're solid, in fact. I use the Bandito bug quite a lot. I use the Kraken craw some, and I use the Rattlin' Ned as well. So Matthew Anderson says he doesn't want to take everybody's baits because you guys paid for them. Well, Matthew, I think people are trying to get creative and figure out how to get to you baits, no matter what, dude. These people are subscribed to different boxes and have excessive amounts of baits, like I do, and they're not running giveaways every month. So, they hear somebody's in need, and they want to hook them up. So, don't feel guilty, Matthew. Look at you, Daniel. So true, Riley. All right, guys, let's move on. Next in here, got a little piece of terminal tackle, and this is the Frenzy Wacka sack wacky jig. Not sure if you guys have heard of these before, but this is kind of a cool little setup that Tactical Bass and a few other people have talked about over the years, but good Lord, this is small. I think this is a size 1 hook, but essentially this. So, yeah, it says, whether you're an avid weekend angler or a seasoned tournament angler, we know your time on the water is valuable. Here at Frenzy Baits, we know blah, blah, blah. When it comes to, come on, man. Unique compact weighting system reduces snagging, keeps hooks in the upright position for better hookups. Perfect for wacky rig and flick shake techniques. So I think the guys at Tactical Bassin use this on a fluke rig and a couple of other baits, but I saw this and it was on sale on Outdoor Pro Shop as well. So decided to get 1 pack of them. This is in the 1/4 ounce green pumpkin size. So interesting little setup here. Curious to give it a shot, but tiny little size 1 hook on there. So most likely what I'll end up doing is taking a fluke and a screw lock, put the screw lock in the nose of the fluke, and then put the hook through the screw lock. So it holds the bait quite well. You're not going to lose the rig nearly as easily, or the bait. So interested to try the Frenzy Wacka sack. Okay. Now, you guys know I'm a geek when it comes to swim baits. All right, swim baits, guys. You know I've got all these swim baits right here. I've got packs of swim baits, packs of swim baits, swim baits, swim baits, swim baits, and a whole lot more than that too that you don't see. But this right here is a swim bait that I've never seen before, with a system that does not exist here in the U.S., at least until now. And this is a JDM bait made by Katsu, and this is the Stealth Swimmer. So, guys, this is a little game changer of a bait here. So, let me show you how this thing works. As you can see, this is the real color. I love this little clamshell. I should be able to put this in, a tackle box or something. But check out this bait, first of all. Super good looking bait. Gorgeous color. Very realistic. It's got a big fat paddle tail. Nice kick on that. It's got kind of a skinny, tapered body profile, but it's fatter up toward the head. As you can see, that it's weighted on the inside. It has a place where you could put a treble hook on bottom if you wanted to. It's got a line tie up front. And what you don't see is the hook that is inside. And here's the system. 1, 2, 3. Boom. This hook will come up. It tucks back into the bait and is magnetic like a Megabass mag draft. There is a magnet in the bottom of the belly here, so that when this hook lays down, it sits. It holds down in the bait and stays protected. And then when a fish bites, it ejects off that magnet and comes up and out of the bait. Have you ever seen a system like that? I mean, wow. I'm going to have to make a video on this bait specifically. Stealth Swimmer. So in the package come 2 baits. And I think, of course, I can't read anything on the package aside from length 160 millimeters, and that the color is clear IU or real. So to my knowledge, though, these 2 baits come in different weights. So One is heavier than the other, and I think you can change out that weight. I'm not totally sure. It might just be that you've got one for fishing shallower water and one for deeper water. Maybe H for heavy. But guys, this is a 160 millimeter. So 160, what is that? That's about 6 inches ish. Awesome, awesome little bait there, guys. Alright guys, so I'm a Katsu stealth swimmer, not a cheap bait, obviously. It's about the same price as a Megabass mag draft. You know, this is essentially the same bait as a 6-inch mag draft, just a weedless version. So really cool deal here. Comes with 2 in the package. I think it retails for like close to 30 bucks for the 2 baits, but I paid, you know, they were on sale. So I paid something like 22 or 23 bucks for the 2 baits. So just a little bit cheaper than what you'd pay for a mag draft, but I think they retail just a little bit more than a mag draft. So really cool bait, cool system here. Really pumped to have it in my arsenal. And the last bait in the package here, guys, which is a game changer. This was a new bait last year, and I don't know how I didn't really see anything on this, but this is the Dual Realis Apex Vibe. And if you can't tell, this is a monstrous lipless crankbait. It is an oversized bait, 100 millimeters in length, almost 4 inches. Okay, this thing weighs over an ounce. This is 1 1/8, so 32 grams. And interesting. Just a knocker in there, no rattles. So, of course, this thing's going to ride nose down. But that is quiet. Interesting. So this color here is the one that I'm probably most excited about. And this is subtle. Gosh, what do they call it? Green smelt. So it has a little bit of a purple hue to it. It's still going to do well in cloudy situations because it has kind of a greenish gray finish to it, but it is clear. It's translucent. I can see straight through it. So in clear water on sunny days, this thing is going to slay. Wow, that's big. And then I also got it in a muddy water color. So this is the Apex Chartreuse. Darren Wu, what up, bro? How are you doing? Good to see you in here, man. Look at this. Kevin, the Baitman Baxter, would absolutely love this. I'm going to send him a picture. He is going to love this. I'm not going to send this bait to him because I'm too excited about it. And this bait retails for like, I don't know, $16 or $17. They were on sale though, so I got them for like 11, 12 bucks, I want to say. And that's why I got 2 of them. So again, these are oversized monster lipless crankbaits. Let me pull out my trap box and show you guys. I don't want to knock anything over. I don't think I have room in the trap box for these big boys, but let me show you. So like here's an LV500, which is not a small lipless crankbait, by the way. It's 3 inches long. There's that Apex vibe right next to it. I mean, way bigger, right? Here's the Berkley War Pig in 1/2 ounce. Okay, here's a bigger lipless crankbait. This is the 6 cents, Quake 80 suspending. The Apex just dwarfs everything. Here's a red-eye shad, for example. And here's a little secret. You ever seen a silent lipless crank? Probably not. Ordinarily, that's what you get with a red-eye shad. This color, this oyster, is one that has been super hot as of late in kind of every bait that Strike King makes. And I'll give you a hint that there's a bait that I'm about to get made by Strike King. Another oversized bait like this. Not a lipless, but an oversized bait that I'm going to get in that oyster color. And you'll see it here in the next week or two. So here's, say, the Strike King red-eye shad in the 3/4 ounce next to the Apex vibe. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of scale, understanding that this is a Mondo lipless crankbait, and something that I'm really excited about. So it's got a really cool action and can be fished a couple of different ways. Can be fished really slow or really fast. So pretty cool deal there. Wanted to show you guys those baits that I just recently got in, and see what you guys had to say. Mostly, it was these that that motivated my purchase, right? These swim baits and these lipless crankbaits. But otherwise, the Savage Gear stuff is wicked as well. I'm actually really impressed and excited about this oversized smash tail in the 170. I mean, look at that head. That looks just like a real trout. So any new baits for any of you guys? You guys talking about your 4th of July? Right on. Yeah, Darren, I did see the new 2021 Strike King baits. For sure. Let me tell you what, I would say there were maybe 3 or 4 baits in there that I'm pretty excited about. The one that I'm least surprised about, but pretty excited about, is the small Rage Tail Ned craw. So they put out the Rage Ned bug last year, the little bug, and now this year they just put out the craw. So not surprised there, but at the same time, it's like I'm also not that interested because I've been using the baby craw for a few years now, and it feels kind of like the same bait, to be honest. I don't know what's going to make it all that different. So, here's the baby Rage craw, for example, and I'm gonna try the new one, see how it's different. You guys will get to see, but as for what makes it different, I don't know. I mean, this is a 3-inch bait, so they're gonna shorten it down just ever so slightly and fatten up the body and make it, flat so that it fits with the Ned head. But not too excited about that one. But we'll try it still, right? And oh shoot! I had a feeling that might happen. Whoa! Sorry, guys. That was a little insane. Insane in the membrane. I think we're good here. I hope we're good here. Yikes. Back to Strike King. The Strike King jerkbait, they're going to come out with a small one, right? They've made a couple sizes. I'm not going to get it out because it's this bottom box of these 5. But they've made a 200 size, which is a 2-hook mid-size jerkbait, and the 300 size, which is 3 hooks, which is the full size, like 110. And now they're making the downsized the Kbd J100 jerkbait. It's going to be called, and it's closest to like the Lucky Craft, Pointer 78, right? I'm not even going to try right now. Okay, so it's going to be more that 78 size, closer to like a 3 3.25, not quite a 4-inch. I'm glad you got some entertainment out of that, Darren. Yeah, absolutely crazy. So that small size jerkbait should be, in my opinion, the more appropriate small 2-hook jerkbait to throw. I won't throw that 200 size probably ever anymore. I'll really throw the 300 and then now that smaller 100 when I'm looking for more of a finesse jerkbait. And then lastly, the bait that I'm most excited about from Strike King this upcoming year is the Hybrid Hunter. It's no secret that bait has been coming out. Todd Castledine's been talking about it like every day, and it is, it's been out a number of times and made by a couple of companies. But this, it sounds like this should be like the original Bubba from Strike Pro. So I'm pretty excited to see the Hybrid Hunter and give it a shot, especially because I fish a lot of shallow water, grassy ponds, and so it feels like it's going to be a perfect bait for a lot of those places that I fish where I feel somewhat obligated to throw a topwater or like a weightless worm because anything else is going to get hung up. So I can't even throw like a shallow diving crankbait. I have to throw a wake bait. So I mean, it's really topwater or bust, or like a swimming worm, and that's about it in a lot of these bodies of water. So having a crankbait that will be able to go over the tops of grass and have treble hooks and not get hung, or I mean, it'll get hung and it'll come out, but not come back with a pile of grass on it. Seems like a pretty cool idea, so I'm excited to try that for sure. Now, there's other baits, other companies, releasing baits now that I'm excited about too, and we can talk about that at another time. But yeah, Brian, I gotta freaking fix these shelves. I gotta fix this area. I had to move a table out of here recently, and so it's a mess, more than normal down here at the moment. And I need to reorganize. But it's mid-season. It's kind of hard to get into that mode at the moment, if we're being honest. Darren, I have not tried the Phantom Spider, but the prop baits, yes. I've got the prop sunfish, shad, and frog. I can show them to you if you like. I knew it was going to happen. Guys, forgive me. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Oh, golly. My wife's asking. Are you okay down there? Oh, matey. Shoo! Matthew says he needs some Senkos. Dude, they're called Senkos. 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 Cinco de Mayo. And yeah, you do, bro. Interesting, Riley. I did not know about that. Alright, I'm going to hope that these don't knock over right now, but let's show you these frogs, yo. Darren, don't feel bad. Here they are. Lunker hunt, right? Now, we'll start with these prop fish, right? So the shad and the sunfish, it's the same bait, just minor details like the top fin, for example, exists on the sunfish but not the shad. The side of the bait, the scales are just a little bit different, but otherwise it's the same exact bait, right? So, hookup ratio is going to be the same. Really good. These are soft baits, okay? So, if the fish eats the entire bait, you're going to get a good hookup ratio. But as you can see, this thing has a prop on it. So, it's not going to be ideal for fishing pads, okay? So, you do want to fish this on the edges of pads. You want to fish it a little bit more open water where that tail can make a little bit of disturbance. But here's the thing, is it only makes a little bit of disturbance. This is a really subtle prop, and it's a single prop. So I think the prop sunfish and the prop shad are okay, to be honest with you, Darren. But the prop frog, on the other hand, is awesome. This is a sleeper bait that not a lot of people talk about. I fished this black frog at night just a week or two ago and caught a mess of fish on this exact bait, and it's back in working order and doing just fine. So, it did twist whole bunch, just like any frog will do when you get a fish hooked up. But the key on this prop frog is the trailer hook here, okay? I don't know why there aren't more baits on the market, more frogs with trailer hooks on them, but just saying, it's a thing. Trailer hooks on frogs are a good idea. So, I really like that prop frog. You know, as for the Lunker Hunt Yappa ones with these you know, funky style lips on them, I don't like the Yappa bug very much. There's no tail on it whatsoever, and it's kind of got an awkward shaped body. So it has this slightly smaller hook on it, and the hookup ratio is okay. The Yappa Rat, on the other hand, is a quite a bit bigger bait. If you look at it just side by side, it's quite a bit wider, first of all. It collapses really easily. And that single tail in the back, I kind of like. So the Yappa Rat is decent, and the prop frog is really good. Sorry to be really long-winded in answering your questions, Darren. Feel free to ask any other questions that you have, either on the stream or off the stream. Happy to answer your questions anytime, guys. I didn't think the system was going to kick on. My wife must be going to sleep and just turned the fan on. So sorry about it, guys. Fun fact, Daniel says, I've never caught a fish on a hard bait. That's weird. Not super fun of a fact, but it can be a fact. Sorry to hear that, man. You got to get a Whopper Plopper in your life. Might be one of the best investments you make. Does that include jigs, or I mean, what about a chatterbait, Daniel? Brian says, do you have the new Scum Frog? Wonder if they're any good. I do not have any of them. I've heard they're pretty good. They look pretty decent, but I've never been a big Scum Frog guy myself, so tough to say. You know, I know Scum Frog was the deal back in the day before the frog market really exploded. But since then, there are a lot of frogs on the market that have just as good or better of a hookup ratio. They don't retain as much water. Now, the hooks that are used can be debatable, but yeah, I use a fair amount of frogs, but I don't really use Scum Frogs, so can't tell you, Brian. Sorry, man. Daniel, but not frogs, cranks, and jerkbaits, and no. All right, William, no problem, man. Have a good rest of your night. Thanks for hanging out, dude. We are hitting the 1 hour mark right now in 5 seconds. We're not going to hang out much longer here tonight, guys. I'm happy to hang out, chit chat, answer questions that you've got. Mostly, I just wanted to show you those baits that I just recently got in, and let you know that I'm sorry that I hadn't been on in the last few days, because I was planning on getting on over the weekend, and I will be on this upcoming weekend. So look out for a live stream on Friday and or Saturday this weekend, okay? If you have recommendations on what you'd like to talk about specifically, feel free to let me know. Happy to talk about topwater baits, summer baits, night fishing, I think we've talked about recently. And like I said, Ron Hawley recently recommended or requested that we talk about creature baits specifically, and we could go way down the rabbit hole that is creature baits. So appreciate it, William. You too, man. Good luck fishing if you go out in the next couple days. Brian, that's a pretty funny comment. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. They've always looked a little bit funky to me, but I think the hookup ratio is pretty good, and the hooks, of course, being owner hooks, Scumfrog tend to be pretty good, or have a good reputation at least. Matthias in the building, dude. We're an hour in. How are you doing? Good to see you in here, man. All right, guys, let's talk about fishing recently. I've been going night fishing quite a lot, and I've been wrecking them at one of the places that I go. So I sneak into a little golf course, fish at this pond, and they bite. So it's a great place to test lures, to go catch a fish when that's what I'm craving or need. And it's also a good place to really get to know different lures and presentations, especially when fishing in the dark. You really it's all feel. So I've been catching them a lot on top water, of course, as you would expect. You know, throwing Whopper Plopper in the 110, throwing the Rat a lot. I've been throwing that size 30 and size 40 Rat most. And then I've been throwing the Bat a little bit as well. I threw the 6 cent speed wake once or twice. Didn't get any takers on that. The wake baits haven't really been doing it for me, except for the rat lures. Those rats by Spro are just almost too good, guys. If you don't have any of those rat lures, you got to get some. Just saying. Okay, Daniel. Yeah, I'm aware of that, man. I didn't know that they do that though. I've heard of the podcast and I've seen the videos on YouTube, but I didn't know that if you text them, that they'll send you free lures. Did not know that. I mean, I'll check it out for sure. Oh, get out of here, Riley. I don't know that I want it, but where is it? What's the website? Oh, you just forgot the website? Get out of here. If they've got 13 left, they're probably going to go tonight, if I had to guess. Well, Daniel, that's interesting. Worth checking out, I would say. I think the vlog, the podcast, or how I feel about the guy himself. For some reason, I just wish that he would, put on a little bit nicer clothes every now and again. But I don't know why. That's just me and my own issues that I've got. But if you're going to turn a camera on and post something for thousands of people to watch, especially if the production quality is pretty decent. Like he's doing a lot of cool B-roll type of footage and close-ups of baits and maybe even some underwater footage. Like he's getting some pretty good content, and then he shows himself on camera. And a lot of times he's just wearing a ratty old extra large T-shirt that's like too big for him, and it looks weird, to be honest. So, sorry, I'm not trying to hate. Really not, because I think he puts out some good stuff. So, Brian, I'm throwing all different rats, so that it depends, man. Oh man, where my rats at? Where my rats at? Oh, I don't know where my rats are. So let's just talk about them. The size 40 is probably my favorite size. It weighs about an ounce. So I will throw that on, medium heavy most of the time. And then the size 30, I also like to throw a lot, but it weighs, I don't know, a half, maybe 3/4 of an ounce. And it's quite a bit smaller. It's a finesse topwater. So I throw that on a spinning rod with like 20 or 30 pound braid. And so I'll rotate between that size 30 rat and the size 75 Whopper Plopper. And that's an awesome little 1-2 combo. I'll start with the Whopper Plopper 75 and cover more water. You can usually get a bite or two, just by beating the banks. And then when it slows down, tie on that rat and you fish it slow. So the rat has like a sweet spot speed, and it'll make sound with the speed. So as you work that bait slowly, it will make just a deliberate knocking sound. Tick, 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 tick. As you start to work it faster, that knocking sound gets louder. Sounds like wood clacking together. Tick, 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 tick. And as you fish it too fast, that knocking sound gets loud and the bait starts swimming too fast, too aggressively. I find that I don't really get many bites when fishing it on, say, anything faster than like a medium to medium fast retrieve. So I'm working it anywhere from super slow to medium, maybe medium fast. But on average, I'm working them slow. So I'll cast it out and let it sit for about 10 seconds, and then slow, slow, slow. And I usually get bit in the first 5 or 10 seconds of working that bait. But then I'll speed it up and get more of a rhythm going for, say, the middle portion of the retrieve. So working slow at the beginning and then a little bit faster and more deliberate, getting into a rhythm with that knock, 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 knock for, the whole middle of the retrieve. And then usually I'm going to speed it up and burn it back to me, depending on where I am and what it looks like between me and just off the bank. So a lot of time I'm fishing nastier stuff, and I kind of have to get over the stuff. So sorry to go off on a tangent there, but Daniel said, also, I don't know if you've seen, but if you call or email them while they're on the stream, they send more lures. Daniel, don't know what you're talking about, bro, but don't worry about it. Riley says, I'd like to know the topic. Wait, what? I, Lewis, like to know the logic of a diesel minnow, like what's the best way to use and technique on how to use it. Riley, don't know what you're asking exactly. Are you just want recommendations on the diesel minnow? What size diesel minnow are you talking about? Tim Dunn in the building. What's up, dude? You always count to 10 before you start retrieving most baits. Most topwater baits, sure. If it's a popper or a walking bait or a wake bait, something that's going to spook the fish out of the area when it first lands, I think it makes sense to do that for sure. But if it's something that you need to retrieve faster or that's going to sink at a specific rate where you're going to count it down, that's the more important thing than worrying about the ripples on top of the water or how the fish are reacting right there near the surface where you just made that cast. So I don't disagree though, Tim. Glad that you made it on, dude. Okay, Riley. So 5 to 7. We've talked about this before, but so the 4-inch Diesel Minnows is, in my opinion, the best trailer. I like the 3-inch Minnows for finesse swim baiting. It's a little bit fatter, but the 4-inch Diesel Minnows is an awesome trailer on a chatterbait or a swim jig. Okay, the 5-inch is a sweet standalone swim bait. I love to rig it on the Z-Man Redfish Eye jig head. I don't know that I've got one close that's handy. Let me look. Aha. Okay. Here's what the pack looks like. Redfish. I make it in a 1/8, a 3/16, and a 1/4. This is the 1/4 ounce. It's got like a 4/0 hook on there, and it fits the 5-inch very well. So I like throwing it on an exposed hook because I like putting a jig head with an eye on there. The Diesel Minnows do not have eyes on them, so I prefer to rig them on an exposed jig head if possible, but I will also throw them on weedless swim bait hooks as well. So the 5-inch, I typically like to throw on that Z-Man Redfish Eye, just because I like this double barbed keeper for a Laztec a little bit better than, say, a screw lock or something else like that. You could use a 6 cents Divine swim bait jig head. It's just a little bit trickier to rig, right? So something with a wire keeper would be more ideal. Something with a 4/0 or 5/0 hook on there would be ideal. The 7-inch, on the other hand, as I've talked about before, you need a giant hook. So I use the 6 cents 1 ounce 8/0 Divine swim bait head, or I use like a gigantic. I think this is the 11/0 BMC weedless swim bait hook. So something extra big, 8/0 or bigger if you're using the 7-inch, and then that 5-inch, I think 4/0, 5/0, 6/0 is pretty appropriate. So with that 5/0 and that, with the 5-inch and the 7-inch swim baits, I'm throwing those like swim baits. I'm not throwing them as trailers, and yeah, I'm throwing them as standalone swim baits when I can. I want to throw it with an exposed hook, and when I'm throwing around gnarlier stuff, I am going to throw it on a weedless hook. But I'm still getting to know the baits themselves and where I'd prefer to throw it over any of these other baits, that I also really like throwing. I've gotten away from throwing, the Kitech and the Rage Swimmer as just like a go-to swim bait anymore, even though these are awesome little swim baits. This is a 4.75-inch Rage Swimmer in the electric shed. Super go-to bait right here, but just, not that interesting to me. I'd much rather throw, a 5-inch Scottsboro tackle swim bait, or, a 5-inch Megabass Spark Shad, or a 6-inch Megabass Mag Draft Freestyle, something like that. It's just going to be a little bit more interesting, or even like a baby Boom Boom from Optimum. By the way, Optimum is putting out the Papa Boom Boom this week, which should be a really interesting release. Not sure how into swim baiting you guys are, but check this out. This is the 4 or 4.5-inch Baby Boom Boom swim bait by Optimum. It's a hand-poured swim bait. Awesome kicking action. It's got a lot, it's a very narrow bait, but it has a quiver and a very interesting roll action to it. So this is the smaller version of this. This is the original Boom Boom swim bait. This thing weighs about 2 ounces a pop, about 6 inches long, and it's awesome for an 8/0 owner beast. I've got a 9/0 Trocar on here right now, and side by side, here's the 6-inch and its baby brother, the 4.5-inch. So the Boom Boom and the baby Boom Boom. And this week, they're putting out a Papa Boom Boom, which is an 8-inch. So significantly bigger than the 6-inch here. So that will be really interesting to see, because this 6-inch has always felt really big to me personally. But Brian, what's your top 5 baits you throw to have fun, even if they aren't your best fish catching lures? Great question. Might have to think about that one, dude, because I usually do associate fun lures with fish catchability, right? But a lot of the baits that I like to throw and experiment with are not necessarily the ones that I'm always catching fish on or super confident in. So let me think about that one and get back to you guys on a future stream. That might even be a good topic to cover in more depth, because I think that's really interesting. But as you guys know, a chatterbait is one of my top baits to throw for sure. I never leave home without that rod and reel setup that I've got, and with at least a half a dozen chatterbaits, pretty much all jackhammers, sometimes thunder crickets, sometimes homemade ones that I've got. But otherwise, yeah, the chatterbait I'm always bringing. Otherwise, I'm mixing it up most of the time. I'm really trying to bring different things with me. So hard to totally say, but I think the Whopper Plopper and the chatterbait are probably going to remain on that list of top 5 baits. And unfortunately, I lost one of each the other night when I was out. That was a devastating night. I decided to try a different body of water that I've been having a lot of success at this season during the day, but I decided to go there at night, and it was a disaster. I caught nothing, and I lost. Well, I caught 3 fish, but I landed none. They all popped off as they got to the bank, and so I didn't get any pictures. I didn't officially land any fish, and I lost 2 lures worth some, $25, $30. So yeah, you win some, you lose some, right? The rat and the bat have been super fun to fish this summer for me, and yeah, RIP those baits for sure. It was a white jackhammer chatterbait and a bone colored Whopper Plopper 75. So yeah, unfortunate, but you got to have multiples, right? I might have a backup in each of those colors of those baits, so we'll see. Riley says, "Okay, I got you on this one. I think Reaction Innovations versus Strike King versus Z-Man. In your opinion, what's your opinion? Like pros and cons." Interesting. Dick Fitzwell, what's up, dude? Yeah, it was a big time oof, man. I was pissed. I've been playing around with the gear that I'm throwing some of these baits on, and the chatterbait, that was just unfortunate. I got it hung up in some rocks, and I didn't feel like going in the water to get it. It was almost midnight, and I wasn't wearing the right clothes. I had pants on, so I wasn't gonna go get it. So I had to break off the chatterbait. But the Whopper Plopper, I made a cast a little too close to a piece of cover. There was an outcrop of some cattails, and so I was paralleling next to the cattails and bringing it by, and the wind caught my cast and kind of brought it around the corner. So as I was bringing the bait back, it caught on those cattails, and I swear, that hook being a little bit light wire, and the fact that I was throwing it, I think on, I don't know if it's 20 or 30 pound braid right now, but it snapped way too easy. The second that I tightened my drag down and started pulling a little bit to free it from those cattails, it broke. So super unfortunate, but like I said, you win some, you lose some. So Riley, to answer your question, Reaction Innovations, I think they're a good company. They make super high quality soft plastics. Okay. And they make some good hard baits too. The Reaction Innovations Vixen was one of the all-time topwater walking baits, and it's now back in production. But soft plastics is kind of what Reaction Innovations is known for these days. As you can see, I've got 2 of their baits right here behind me. This is the Man Bear Pig, and this is the Spicy Beaver. Now, as you just hear in the names of the baits, they're a little bit more edgy of a company. Spicy Beaver, Smalley Beaver, all of their creature baits, beaver style baits they have named after beaver, and a lot of the names are a little bit bordering on inappropriate. So are the colors. So that has limited the company to where they can sell their stuff. It's just part of their personality, and that's cool. They make really high quality baits, and they're middle of the road in terms of price, but they're good quality, awesome colors, and worth throwing. But I haven't been a big Reaction Innovations guy over the years. But that said, I am not brand loyal or specific to any one brand, and I'm not sponsored by anybody. So I kind of like everybody to a certain extent. Striking, on the other hand, I really, really like. I've always been a big fan of Striking, especially their Rage Tail soft plastic baits. Hard baits is a different category and conversation altogether. I really like Strike King hard baits too, but for soft plastics, the Rage Tail line of soft plastics is tough to beat. I like most of the baits in the Rage Tail line. I love the scent, love the action, just what it's all about. The Kbd Perfect Plastics, on the other hand, I'm kind of 50-50 about. I like some of those baits, and I don't like some of those baits. So, yeah, that's hit or miss for me, but they're high quality. They just tend to be a little bit expensive and not very durable. They're super salted. So I like the Caffeine Shad jerkbait, and I like a couple of those drop shot baits, but don't care much for those swim baits. Now, lastly, they have the Zero, the Elastec products. I like the Zero and the Z2 pretty well also, but Z-Man makes those baits for them. So they're licensed and made by Z-Man. So lastly, Z-Man, as you know, I love Z-Man. They don't have scent in them. A couple of their baits do, you know. They have some Procure in the packaging, and that's cool. But, you know, like these leeches, it says scented with Procure gel, right? But most of Z-Man's baits are not scented. So that's one thing that you have to keep in mind, and something that you have to take into consideration and do is apply scent to the baits when you're using them. But the durability is unmatched. The action is awesome. The buoyancy is killer. And those things you can't beat with other companies. So Strike King, you get great action and great scent. With Z-Man, you get great durability and great buoyancy. And so those two brands can cover most of my bases. And then I will just sprinkle in soft plastics from other brands. Reaction Innovations, Beast Coast, Megabass, Kitech, and a whole bunch of others, smaller brands too. So again, I am not brand specific, and I'm open. I throw a lot of Zoom, Yamamoto. I don't care for Yum all that much. You know, keep asking if you've got questions, guys. Darren says, tips to get out of your comfort zone with new baits to throw. I've tried a roulette app and to bring certain baits with me, but I tend to just go back to the same. Yep, I hear you. Would you suggest a 3.25 to 3.5 or 4-inch paddle tail swim bait, like on an underspin and jig head? Those are those two different questions, or what? Yeah, if we're talking about a swim bait on an underspin with a jig head, it's tough to go wrong with a 3.3. Yeah, I know this is weedless. This isn't exactly what you're talking about, but 3.3-inch swim bait, Kitech or Rage Swimmer, as a finesse swim bait is swim bait is a go-to for me. So Darren, otherwise, tips to get out of your comfort zone. I would say go at high probability times, go to high percentage spots, and lock the bait in your hand. So that's the hardest thing to do, is to not bring your confidence baits as backups. So, for example, for me, if I wanted to build confidence, you know, let's say I didn't have confidence in a square bill crankbait, but I wanted to get some more. I'm gonna tie this square bill on, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to crank some rocks where I know there are likely to be fish. I'm going to go to some points. I'm going to go to some coves where I know there is rock transition, there is depth change, and I've caught fish before. And I'm going to fish this bait over and over. I'm not going to fish it for 5 minutes and then put it down and pick up the chatterbait and try and catch one before I move and switch spots. You don't switch to your confidence baits, but rather just keep throwing the new bait. So it's easier said than done, dude. I wish I could say that it's easy, but sometimes it takes a long time to get used to throwing a new bait. I'll be honest in saying it took me a little bit longer than I wanted to really getting used to and liking the Megabass Dark Sleeper. And I still have kind of a love-hate relationship with it. My confidence in it goes up and down. Brian says, I feel like soft plastics are so close to each other, I'm about to start buying depending on how they package, so I get straight baits. Absolutely, Brian. I mean, look at the man bear pigs. They only take up half of the bag. Like, doesn't that bother you? Now, sometimes it takes up too much room. Like these Miyagi swimmers, for example, from Beast Coast. It's awesome that they're in this package and the tails are protected. But this is a pretty big package. You could not carry very many swim baits around with you if you wanted to. So clamshell packaging is a big deal, though. I totally agree, Brian. And when I see new baits come out that do not have clamshell packaging, I always wonder what the company is doing, why they would make that decision these days. Dick Fitzwell, Guggen baby. Yeah, Guggen Baits is smart. Having put all clamshell packaging on their baits, I think that's smart. Trigger a boomer, throw Guggen. Fact. Do you throw a jig bank fishing often? Not often, but yes, I do. Just usually when I'm target fishing. If I'm flipping to specific laydowns, stumps, or overhanging trees, a jig is a great bait to throw. But no, a lot of times a jig when fishing from the bank is going to get hung up. So no, that's honestly why I'm not going to pull it out. Why I've got a box of Strike King Bitsy Bug jigs is that for a period of a couple of years, I had a lot of confidence in that Bitsy Bug jig. Just a small, a finesse jig bordering on micro jig, right? It's got a 1/0 or 2/0 hook in it, and you can use anything 3 inches or smaller as a trailer on it. I'm willing to pay the price of getting hung up. So hopefully that answers your question, Brian. I do fish jigs from the bank, some, but not very often. Okay, I'm trying to develop more confidence in throwing the Tokyo rig and throwing the micro jig. That skirted Ned rig made by Z-Man. So I've gotten away from throwing traditional jigs quite as frequently. Now, occasionally, I will opt for something big. I'll throw a football jig. I'll just bomb it as far as I can, and I'll slow drag it out deep. But not very often, man. Darren says, have you tried the Sakoshi bug? Nope, I haven't. I've heard decent things about it, but I've posted about this before. I think on Instagram, maybe not on YouTube, but check this out. If you take a Z-Man Turbo Cross and you remove the cross, look what this bait looks like. Looks a lot like a Sakoshi bug to me. So, yeah, the Sakoshi bug is not that interesting to me. I throw Z-Man baits, and they've got a ton of different awesome Ned rig style baits. I haven't had any interest in any of the 10,000 fish baits. I don't subscribe to Carl's Bait and Tackle or Mystery Tackle Box or any of those at the moment. So, just saying. Darren says, I was wondering, since you bank fish but have so much tackle at box-specific baits, how do you pack for a fishing day on the bank without carrying the kitchen sink? Great question, man. That depends on the body of water that I'm fishing, the time of year, the time of day that I'm fishing, and what I'm in the mood for, man. So I'll be honest in saying that I do mix it up. There are probably 5 to 10 bodies of water that I fish frequently, that I rotate, and like I said, I'm fishing either topwater or middle of the day. So I like to plan the day before based on where I'm going. A couple of those places I'll be targeting smallmouth, but otherwise I'm targeting largemouth the vast majority of the time. Occasionally, I will also target crappie or bluegill, but otherwise, I go out with 3 to 5 rods, and I just bring a couple of boxes about this big. So this isn't a great example of one, but as you can see here, I've got 3 packs of mixed clamshells. These are Rage Tail, Rage Bugs, Rage Menace Grubs, and Rage Craws. So got a nice mixture there. They can all fit in the side here. And then I've got chatterbait, swim jig, chatterbait, bandito bug, rage craw, swim bait. So I kind of bring a mixture of things, sometimes pre-rigged, sometimes not, and I will bring things that I have confidence in and will use as fallback baits. I will bring things that I am looking forward to trying or have not tried yet, and I'll also bring a few things that I am kind of working on and trying to get a better feel for. So, just I'm trying to mix it up, and I rarely will bring something with me, 5 times in a row. So I try to rotate out the baits for the most part. But sorry if that doesn't quite answer your question, Darren. I used to literally just try and limit how much tackle I had and intentionally bring the kitchen sink. Just pack everything that I had and just be prepared for any situation. But the reality is you're going to run into to situations that you're not prepared for, and you have to make do with what you've got. So I've come to accept that over time. Tim says, the other day I found an old bag of Yum tubes. Are tubes still a viable bait? Yeah, dude. Tubes are definitely a viable bait. I've got one sitting right here. We've got a pack of tube jig heads right here. And I've got some tubes. Got some more tubes down here too. Yeah, man. Tubes are still an awesome bait, especially when fishing for smallmouth and around the spawn. But they're a good crawfish imitator, and they're just a kind of an older sleeper type of bait, man. That's the only reason that nobody pushes them anymore. Brian says, can you cut the butt end of a TRD to get more action? Yes, and I do that. You mean just like cut the ends of it to make it more, to give it like some tentacles? I'll definitely use some scissors and cut up my baits and play around. I wish I could show you something that's up in my office right now that that I was recently playing around with, but absolutely, I do cut up some of my baits to give it more action, a little bit more cut through the water too. Yes, I do rig tubes backwards. Let me show you a cool way to do that too. I have this pack here close by. Oh man. I'm gonna have to show you guys another time how I really prefer to do this stupid tube. But yeah, Yamamoto makes these tube weights, these insert lead weights that you can stuff into the tube, and then you put an EWG style hook in, and the point of the hook then goes into the bait and through a hole in that lead insert. So when I can sort through the mess that is around me and find those weights, I will show you guys another time on stupid tube rigging. But absolutely, Darren, I think it's a really cool action, and a bait that I like to rig stupid style is the Kitech salty core tube. So this one is rigged stupid style. So check this out. The eye of the hook is here in the butt. So when you pull the bait, it's going to pulse, and then it's going to fall I think it's going to fall down nose first. And so it's going to fall away from you and go back into the cover. And what's cool about these Kitech tubes, they are a little bit expensive, but they're super, super well made. And what's cool is they're actually solid. These have a salty core per the name, salty core tube. And these are plugged. So they're filled with salt on the inside, and then the butt is plugged with a piece of soft plastic. So you can rig these front ways or back ways, and because they're filled with salt, they've got enough weight in them on their own that you don't need to use a bullet weight or anything like that. So you're good with the hook and fishing it weightless. They make it in different sizes. This smaller 3.5 inch and then a larger 4 1/4 as well. That's a really great bait, but it's pretty big. Tackle Junkie has a video on fishing a tube for largemouth. Right on. I didn't know that a tube was one of his go-tos. I know he throws a square bill like a madman, but I didn't know that TJ throws a tube all that often. Interesting. Yeah, Tim, definitely give him a try then. Tell me, Tim, are they 4-inch long tubes? Because some tubes are meant for flipping, and some were not. But if it's a 4-inch long tube, then you might want to consider Texas rigging it and use it as a flipping bait. Riley says, do the coffee tubes work better? Or do the super salty ones work better? I use the coffee tubes. And it's just a personal preference thing. These have the coffee scent to them. They're really well made, well poured. They're not the most durable, but tube baits don't tend to be very durable in the first place. These come, I think, 8 to a pack. But the scent is it's unbeatable. So, green pumpkin, the fish can't help it, I do think that the coffee scent makes a difference, straight up. So I've got more confidence in the coffee tubes than anything else. But like I said and showed you earlier, I do have a number of packs of the Smash Tube from Havoc, mostly because I've just gotten a good deal on them. Those Kitech Salty Core tubes I really like, but they're pricey. And then one bait that's a sleeper is the Z-Man Easy tubes and the TRD tubes. Definitely worth a look too. So Tim says, never thought about rigging a tube like that. Definitely sure something to try this weekend. J-Dog in the house. Hello to you as well, man. What up? Darren says, do you think scent attracts more bites? Yes. I think it attracts more bites than gets them to hold on longer, but I don't know what it is, man. To be honest with you, I couldn't tell you. But I do think it makes a difference. There are some baits that are not scented, and I find that they get bit a lot less than the baits that are scented. So the ones that I think are scented quite well are the Strike King coffee baits. So the entire Rage Tail line of baits, as well as those coffee tubes we were just talking about, and Kitech and their squid scent. I mean, just unbelievable, really good scent, really good action on the soft plastic. So you combine those two, killer. Okay, like Zoom soft plastics, Yum soft plastics. I don't care for the smell whatsoever. A lot of baits just don't have a good smell. Yamamoto, for example, don't care for it. But some companies, Reaction Innovations, Missile Baits, they do a good job of scenting their lures in the plastic or in the bags. So I like that just fine. Justin was crabbing. Hope you had a good time, man. Cool. Guys, we got 20 people in here right now. 10 thumbs up. Do me a quick favor. Hit that thumbs up button. 20 people in here sounds kind of like one of the higher counts that we've had while live streaming. So throw me some questions before I hop out of here. But we've been on for almost 2 hours, and I got to get out of here, guys. Sorry about that, Justin. I know you just hopped on, man. Good to see you in here. But like I said, we will be back on Friday and or Saturday this weekend, okay? I apologize for not being on last weekend, but again, the fireworks woke up and scared my 2 young daughters, so I did not hop on this past weekend. So that's why it's been about 10 days since I've seen any of you guys. So Justin says, it is fun until you have to pull the pots up by hand. Yeah, that doesn't sound too fun. Berkley Power Bait sent. Big fan. Big fan, Darren. Yep. And I'm a big believer in it, too. Don't know how I left it out when I was mentioning companies that have good scent. Power Bait is definitely one of them. It's just, I don't like it on my fingers. It stays. You know, if there's something about Power Bait that it's a little bit gnarly, but I definitely think the fish like it. So, all right, guys, I think I'm going to dip out of here. All of a sudden, I've got to pee pretty bad, and it's getting late. It's already 11 o'clock my time. I got to work tomorrow. So appreciate you guys hanging out. It's been super fun, as always. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Tight lines if you do go fishing. Otherwise, I will see you this weekend. Hit that thumbs up button for me. See you in the next one. Cheers, guys.